I'm King Link, and it's past the first week of May, so it's time for the Humble Choice May 2024 review. This month we have two headliners, and the first game is actually from my favorite series, so I'm ready to go. I've played all the games for an hour on stream, and one of them with the viewers as well. Now I can tell you what the games are like, how they play, and if you might enjoy them. There's a lot to get through, but I can't wait to talk about the game already on screen, so let's get started. Yakuza Like a Dragon, the JRPG edition. This is the sixth title in the Yakuza series on Humble Monthly or Humble Choice, but I'll repeat it all. This is one of my favorite series. This game has a deadly serious story with lighthearted side stories, great characters, an interesting city, and excellent pacing. Every game is entertaining and they all have a ton of content. Yakuza Like a Dragon, though, is a bit different. This time, instead of Kiryu Kazuma, we follow Ichiban Kasuga. He's almost a drop-in replacement at times, but that works. However, he sees the entire world as an RPG, and thus instead of a brawler, the combat is now a turn-based RPG. I wasn't sure if this would work, but it definitely does. Still, I feel like this is almost a leftover story from Kiryu's storyline at times. This feels a little longer than the original games as well, and honestly, I prefer the brawler combat to the RPG combat. Not that I hate this, but if you dislike turn-based RPGs, this probably won't change your mind, even though everything else in this is perfect. Pick this up if you're a fan of the series or a fan of JRPGs, and I do mean that for JRPG fans. Outside of Yakuza 0, this is probably the best game to start the series with, and if you love JRPGs, this will be excellent. This is truly one of my favorite series, and this was a breath of fresh air for it.
Recalled? You mean killed? Rekka ain't picked the verbs! That's for the mooks in Mark.
Hi-Fi Rush, a rhythm game where every department understood the assignment. Hi-Fi Rush is a visual pleasure. Even with the sound off, you should be able to follow along, and that's because everything in the game works off the beat. The art, the music, the design, the combat, even the enemies' attacks are all timed well. Yet this does mean it's a rhythm game. You don't really need a great sense of rhythm to play through it. Easy and normal won't really require it, but if you're a fan of rhythm games, you can go far deeper with a scoring system like Devil May Cry or Bayonetta. What's not as good? That's a hard one. I guess the graphical style might not be to everyone's taste, the music is pre-selected so you can't choose your own tracks, and the humor, which is well done, might upset people who don't like to laugh. Honestly, not much. This was an excellent game. Pick this up. No qualifiers in this one. People should be checking this game out. It was my favorite game of last year, and this is a fresh new game with a real budget behind it that everyone is looking for, but no one can find it. Hey, it's right here. Steelrising, Dark Souls with Marie Antoinette. Steelrising has some interesting thoughts. Marie Antoinette starts by decrying the French Revolution, though in this universe, King Louis has created automats, basically clockwork robots, to protect him. Marie has her own version, Ares, controlled by the player, and Steelrising starts with this interesting concept. However, once you choose your archetype and start the game, there are French influences in here, but so far it's just another Dark Souls game. There are great choices for the art design, and combat feels very fluid. Well, mostly. The dodge is more of a sidestep that never feels as good as a full tumble from other games. Overall, this is a game trying not to be like other Souls-likes, so you have stuff like a massive jump, but lack the weight and feeling of a Souls-like combat. It's being different, but different isn't exactly better in this case. Pick this up if you're a fan of Souls-likes and want a B-tier entry. You can also look at the other games Spiders, the studio behind this, has made. Those games include Greedfall and Of Orc and Men. They're interesting concepts, but overall, I don't think they are top-tier games that people are going to be raving about. Still, it is a Souls-like. LoddleNaut. I wish cleaning the ocean was actually this fun. LoddleNaut is just a chill game. You swim in the ocean, blast away pollutants, clean up microplastics, and find Loodles, essentially a cute fish friend who can help you out. There are a large world with sunken ships, large reefs, and interesting locations to find, as well as challenges and a ton of stuff to clean up. However, there's not a lot of danger or challenge from what I've seen. It's overall a pretty chill game. Even when I went the wrong way, the game pretty much hand waves it away by saying, your goal is not that way, but you can go explore if you want. The cleaning will get repetitive to some, but there are a lot of games like this that work in the same way. Think Power Wash Simulator for something similar, but this one's actually far cuter. Pick this up if you want to enjoy swimming in the water or exploring the deep. This will work great with young children, of course, but even adults need games to unwind with. Not everything can be about shooting baddies in the head. Sometimes just picking up a little plastic and turning it into a new device that you've been needing is what works, and that's what LoddleNaut has. King of the Castle. It's good to be the king. King of the Castle is a good social party game. The main player is the monarch and everyone else is randomly assigned to 3 factions. I believe it evens off the numbers, but from there, the goal is for each faction to take out the king and the king to hold off the factions until their heir is secure to take the throne next. All of this is done through rounds and each team has several goals they need to accomplish to advance their schemes or push for a rebellion. Almost everything is done through voting, though only one copy of the game is needed. Twitch chat or a website is used for players who want to play along, and it allows people to join in the middle of the game as well. On the other hand, I was lucky I was playing this on stream because this really requires 4 players and we ended up with about 7. The larger the number, the better, of course. Because only one game is needed, this is probably something you could just check out on Twitch to get a better feel of the game. The games are a bit long and involved, players will probably need 2 or 3 games to really feel comfortable about what they're doing. I will say though, I had fun with it. Our story ended up with one of our players, Selvage, being killed. I, as the monarch, had married one of their female family members, and then we killed off the second version of Selvage's character, which you've seen. I almost feel bad about it. Almost. But it was an entertaining storyline and organic. Pick this up if you're a streamer or you have a large group of people that you want to play something with. However, this game does take a very long time. I would say you could burn through multiple games of different Jackbox games before one of this game was over, and since it requires a larger number of people, honestly Jackbox might be preferable. Bravery and Greed. This is great as long as you don't know one fact. Bravery and Greed feels like a beat-em-up. It allows up to 4 players to play couch co-op or online, and players will fight through 5 levels, exploring randomly generated areas and beating 4 bosses, turn the gems to unlock that 5th level, promising a dwarven treasure hoard. I was able to run through this game in an hour, and you know, it works. The missing fact, however, is this is intended to be a roguelite, and I've always wondered how it felt to beat a roguelite on the first playthrough. Now that I have done it, I know it's really not a good thing. This game is extremely easy, and maybe I had the luckiest gear or the right class chosen, but ultimately I beat this game in an hour. While I unlocked additional items in the game and potentially some modifiers, I also beat the game, and I really don't see a reason to return. Pick this up if you want to play a beat-em-up roguelite with several friends. It was entertaining for the hour, but I also was shocked at how easy I found it. There are other classes like I mentioned, so maybe there's more challenge, but honestly I really don't see a reason to return.
Oh, it's you. Whatever you do, don't...
Amanda the Adventurer, a spooky puzzle game. Amanda the Adventurer has a great spooky vibe. The game is played in the attic filled with tons of stuff, and every time I was done watching a video in the game, I quickly looked at a doll expecting the doll to have moved or try to attack me. The entire game has this dark demonic feeling around it, and after viewing a tape, different devices are placed on the central table for players to use or solve puzzles to get additional tapes from. However, the puzzles here are a mixed bag. I think I had a solve rate of maybe 50 to 75% without assistance. There are at least a few Steam guides, but there's very little help in the game, and even a minor hint system or the main player talking to themselves to give the player a hint would have been appreciated. Also, I've heard from horror fans that this isn't that scary, and that's probably why I'm okay with it, of course. Pick this up if you want a horror puzzle hybrid. You might guess from the name, but this entire game is based on the spoof of Dora the Explorer, but it doesn't even try to pretend it's normal. This gets pretty wild, though I would recommend trying to make the wrong choices because watching what happens when you make those wrong choices is the most entertaining part. Mediterranea Inferno, an attempt at a visual novel. Mediterranea Inferno starts with the author saying it's his reflection on a host of problems and has a long content warning. I don't know if the author is trying to be the voice of a generation, but it kind of comes off that way. The game is about 3 gay men going on vacation to reconnect after the pandemic, and don't worry, they name-check COVID. I hope the author felt a cathartic release with this. It feels like this was intended to be a way to talk about something that really bothers him, but comes off as something like, I'm 14 and this is deep. The thing is, the pandemic was very hard for everyone. It's hard to incorporate that into a story, but it's also really not done that well here. It's also hard to tell a story of what seems like 3 overprivileged, sexed up gay men who, honestly, I'm not the right person for the game, and this is a big issue with it being in Humble. But also in general, I just didn't really like this game. It felt more like it was forcing storylines, and even after 20 minutes, I knew it wasn't going to work for me. I know a lot of people are going to call this a great piece of art or something because it spoke to them or whatever, but if you have no reason to even know who a character is in the first 15 minutes or care about them, why are you focusing on them for the entire visual novel? Pick this one up if you like Milky Way Prince, which was in a humble choice previously. This is made by the same developers, but I really didn't like that one, so I didn't like this one. Thus is life. But for me, this is a hard pass. And with that, before we go on, you know what? Rather than showing this fetishism, I'll show the version I prefer. Ichiban, take it away. But that's the last of the humble choice, and once again, we end on a downer, but let's get refocused and talk about istthereanydeal.com. There is. Hi-Fi Rush has never been at $12, Steelrising has also yet to reach this price, and yes, Yakuza has been lower, but it's worth $12, trust me on that. King of the Castle, Amanda, and Mediterranea Inferno has gone for frighteningly less though. Bravery wasn't a fanatic pick and mix, so it's not truly bundled before. At the same time, this bundle does have one big problem. If you take away the two headliners, this bundle kind of falls apart. Take away Steelrising 2, and there's really not a ton here. That's true most of the time for the humble choice, but I feel like a lot of people will already have Like a Dragon or Hi-Fi Rush, or have played them on Game Pass if they wanted to. They're still on there if you're curious. However, if people want to own them on Steam, this is the best way. However, yeah, the rest of these titles aren't as exciting. They're great as add-on games, but you know, let's just wrap this up. Though, first, I will quickly show this. This is just a short list of all the coupons. The DLC here is not really needed, though the Jobs one was nice. Saturnalia is popular, and the Meta Bundle is mostly games that have been previously in a humble choice, stuff like Path of the Righteous, though there is also 30% off Warhammer 40k Rogue Trader. There's also $10 off IGN Live, which I haven't mentioned because it's listed as a game and it's really not. But if you want to go to that, I don't know, it feels like IGN is trying to get an E3-like event going on, which I approve of, but we'll see. And yeah, I requested a press badge, so we'll definitely see. Anyways, let's move on to the tiers. As always, there are 4 tiers: the misses, the average, the strong contenders, and the games that are worth the full bundle price. And also, as always, I'll mention this is based on recommendations or enjoyment, not necessarily the price you pay in the store. Starting at the bottom with the misses, there are 2. The bottom is King of the Castle. I thought it was a good game, but I also struggled with who would have a big enough party to play this. I like social games like Town of Salem or party games like Jackbox, but this one just didn't scratch that same itch. Still, if you're a big Twitch streamer, grab this, it'll be great with a large group. Following that one is Mediterranea Inferno. Yeah, this was the wrong place for the title to be. Maybe everyone's gonna love this game and get the game and I'll be outed as completely out of touch, but I don't think so. I get the intention, but man, this didn't work for me and I'm wondering who's gonna be excited by this title. And you know what? We have enough titles, I'll show the tier list so far. After that, we can just move on to the next tier, and at the bottom of the average tier is Bravery and Greed. I'm not a fan, I'm done with the game after an hour, but if I had some buddies over and we wanted to play a beat 'em up, this would work pretty well, even if we got through it in that hour. Still, I don't see a reason to play it multiple times, especially solo, but maybe it's better with friends, that old chestnut. With that, we have the other game in the average tier, Amanda the Adventurer. This is a short game, but I think it's a good, scary motif that works well for the short time it's around. The puzzles are going to be the make or break it moment, but maybe I was too scared to really piece together the puzzles. At the halfway mark, we'll show the tier list once again, 4 titles down, 4 titles left, and that means it's time to start with the strong contenders. We'll start at the bottom with LoddleNaut. I struggle with how to say that game, but it's just a great little chill experience. I do think more people should be checking this out. I just love the idea of cleaning the ocean and seeing what you can find out there. And at the top of the average tier, this is borderline, but it's Steelrising. Some people will go crazy for this, but I do think of it enough as a B tier for Souls-likes. Maybe I'm wrong, but if so, I hope you enjoy the bundle. And this means we're looking like this, and with Yakuza left, we all know where that's going, so let's talk about the other game. The bottom of the full bundle is Yakuza Like a Dragon. Wait, what? Yeah, Yakuza didn't top my list this month, but this is still an incredible title and one of the best of the series. Absolutely worth picking this choice up if you don't own it. It's an excellent story, and I honestly think it's the story that Yakuza 6 should have told, but I'll let you discover why I said that yourself. And with that said, let's find out what the game of the month is. It's Hi-Fi Rush. Honestly, I meant what I said before. Everyone should be giving this game a shot. It has so much character, there's a great sense of humor here, a fantastic job by the whole team, and it shines. You know, I do have something else to say about it, but let me finish the official review. Now, that's it for the humble choice. Now, normally I talk about another bundle, and here it is. It's Dungeon Crawler. I don't know most of the games, but that's another bundle you can check out. Instead, I hope I can take a moment and hop on my high horse. I want to quickly address something that does bother me. So, the day that Humble Choice came out, Microsoft released the news that Tango Gameworks was closed down by them, and that really sucks. Tango Gameworks made Evil Within 1 and 2, they made Ghostwire, which was impressive, and Hi-Fi Rush, which a lot of people were excited for last year, and you should check out now. But Hi-Fi Rush always felt a little kneecapped. It stealth launched onto Game Pass, which is good, but it had very little press or PR. It just appeared one day, and that would be great, but now the studio is closed. What the hell? It sucks because Tango Gameworks is one of the few remaining studios that I felt produced unique games in the publisher-led ecosystem of the game industry. Indies are still there, yes I bought Hades 2 and it's worthy, hey I just mentioned it, but hearing them shut down Tango the same day that their game is in Humble Choice, damn man, damn. Alright, with that out of the way, I'm sorry to end on a second downer, but we can conclude here. If you like, consider subscribing. I try to do this every month. I do have a couple more videos I want to make, but I'm also expecting to have limited time for the rest of this month, so maybe we'll have an extra video this, next, maybe the month after. I also linked my Twitch stream recording in the description if people want to see more of the games than you get in the 60-second chunks here. I think that's the better way to see it. Anyways, like, subscribe, and you know the rest. Click the videos on the screen, please! See you next time.